Detachment is not about cutting people off, being cold, or refusing to care. It is about choosing where your energy flows and deciding what deserves your attention. Many times, people mistake detachment for disconnection, like you suddenly stop loving, stop investing, or stop showing up. That is not true. Detachment is direction. It is the intentional redirection of your focus toward what you can control and away from what you cannot. It is the wisdom of knowing that not every comment, not every situation, and not every emotion deserves your full investment. When you understand that, you start moving differently, not out of bitterness, but out of balance. Think about how often you find yourself drained because you have poured energy into people or problems that never change. You replay conversations in your head, you anticipate reactions, you overthink decisions, and by the end of the day, you are exhausted. That is the cost of attaching yourself to things outside your control. Detachment breaks that cycle. It says, I don't need to control this, I don't need to chase this, and I don't need to prove myself here. It is not about giving up, it is about rising above. You are not running from life, you are redirecting your life toward peace, clarity, and focus. When you practice detachment, you begin to recognize the difference between being present and being consumed. You can be fully present in a conversation, listen carefully, care deeply, and still not take on the responsibility of fixing someone else's emotions. You can show compassion without carrying the weight of every reaction. That is where detachment becomes powerful. It allows you to show up with love, but not with unnecessary burden. It allows you to keep your heart open, but your boundaries firm. A detached person is not numb. They are actually more aware, more intentional, more grounded. They can see situations clearly because they are not blinded by the need to control outcomes. Detachment gives you the space to step back and ask, what actually matters here? And what is just noise? That pause alone can save you from arguments, from misunderstandings, and from giving away your peace too easily. When you stop reacting to every little thing, you start responding with wisdom. That shift changes how people view you and, more importantly, how you view yourself. Detachment is direction because it points you back to your priorities. If you are attached to every opinion, you lose your own voice. If you are attached to every outcome, you lose your ability to stay steady when things don't go as planned. Detachment keeps you centered. It reminds you that the world doesn't have to move your piece. You decide where you stand. You decide what deserves your focus. That kind of direction makes you stronger, not weaker, because your energy is no longer scattered everywhere. It is focused on growth, health, and what truly matters. Think of detachment like a compass. When chaos pulls you one way and emotions pull you another, detachment keeps you pointed toward your true north. You may care, but you are not controlled. You may listen, but you are not led by every voice. You may feel, but you are not consumed. That is where the strength lies. It is not in shutting down, it is in standing firm. And the more you practice it, the more natural it becomes. You stop chasing validation. You stop forcing outcomes. You stop allowing every situation to dictate how you feel. You realize that peace is not found in controlling everything outside of you. It is found in controlling how you direct what is within you. Your silence is more powerful than your defense. Most of the time, when we feel attacked, misunderstood, or disrespected, our natural instinct is to respond immediately. We want to defend ourselves, explain our point, prove our worth, or fight back. But in that moment, we often hand over our power. The louder we argue, the more we show that someone else has control over our emotions. Silence, on the other hand, speaks volumes. It is a decision to stay calm instead of reacting. It communicates strength without saying a word. It shows that you do not need validation from others to know your own truth. There is a difference between silence that avoids and silence that empowers. Avoidance. Silence is when you shut down because you do not know what to say or you feel helpless. Empowered silence is when you choose not to engage because you already understand that the battle is not worth fighting. It is a conscious choice to say nothing, not because you are weak, but because you value your peace more than proving a point. That type of silence is not emptiness, it is discipline. It shows that you are in control of yourself and no one can pull you into chaos without your permission. People underestimate silence because they confuse it with surrender, but silence can be the loudest message you ever send. When someone throws negativity at you and you don't flinch, when someone tries to stir drama and you don't give them the satisfaction of a response, you are saying more with your stillness than you could ever say with words. You are showing that their opinion does not define you, their anger does not shake you, and their attempt to drag you down will not succeed. That is real strength. It is not about having the last word. It is about not needing a word at all. Think about how many arguments you could have avoided if you had chosen silence instead of defense. Most arguments are not about finding truth. They are about winning control. When you defend yourself against someone who has no interest in understanding you, you lose twice. You waste your energy and you feed their fire. Silence denies them that fuel. It cuts off the cycle. It makes them face their own words without your participation. And often silence exposes what their noise was trying to hide. Silence is also powerful because it creates space. Space for you to think, space for you to calm down, space for you to respond later if needed, but with clarity instead of anger. Defensiveness usually comes from impulse, but silence creates room for wisdom. You might realize that what felt like an attack wasn't worth addressing, or that your peace mattered more than being right. That pause protects you from regret. You rarely regret staying silent, but you often regret saying too much in the heat of the moment. When you choose silence, you are not ignoring reality. You are choosing to rise above it. You are saying that your energy is too valuable to spend on noise. You are not obligated to attend every argument you are invited to. You are not required to explain yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Silence frees you from that burden. It reminds you that not everything requires your reaction and not everyone deserves your explanation. Your silence is not emptiness, it is strength. It is the decision to hold your peace instead of trading it for temporary relief. It is the confidence of knowing who you are so deeply that you don't need to announce it in every conflict. It is the wisdom of recognizing that sometimes the most powerful statement you can make is the one you never speak. Emotional control is your highest form of strength because it proves that you own yourself. Anybody can let anger explode. Anybody can let frustration spill out. Anybody can let fear dictate their choices. That is the easy path. But the true measure of strength is staying steady when your emotions try to take over. It is the ability to feel everything yet not be ruled by anything. When you are calm in the middle of chaos, when you can think clearly even under pressure, you are demonstrating a strength that cannot be faked. The reason emotional control matters so much is because emotions are powerful drivers. They push us toward words and actions that cannot be undone. How many times have people regretted saying something in anger, or making a decision while panicked, or reacting defensively in a heated moment? The regret comes later, but the damage is already done. Emotional control prevents that spiral. It places a pause between what happens to you and how you choose to respond. In that pause, you give yourself time to process, to reflect, and to choose wisely instead of impulsively. It is not about denying your emotions or pretending they are not there. Emotional control is not suppression. It is acknowledgement with discipline. You can admit you are angry without letting anger speak for you. You can feel hurt without lashing out in ways that deepen the wound. You can experience disappointment without letting it make you bitter. This level of control takes practice, but it transforms the way you navigate challenges. You stop being a victim of your emotions and start being the leader of them. Another strength of emotional control is how it protects you from manipulation. People will test you. They will push buttons just to see if they can get a reaction. If they know you can be provoked easily, they can steer you anywhere they want. But when you refuse to give them that satisfaction, when you remain calm and grounded, they lose their power over you. Emotional control disarms them because they cannot play a game you refuse to join. That is why calmness is often the strongest response. It shows that no one else has control over your inner state. And when you carry this control, others notice. People respect the one who does not get rattled, who does not let small things throw them off balance, who stays clear-headed even in conflict. That kind of composure makes you someone others can rely on, because they know you won't lose yourself when the pressure rises. Emotional control commands quiet respect without needing to force it, and it makes your presence stronger without raising your voice. Strength is not about overpowering others. It is about mastering yourself. The more control you have over your emotions, the less control the world has over you. You begin to live with clarity, to make decisions with wisdom, and to carry yourself with a calm confidence that no storm can shake. Distance creates clarity, not weakness. Many people fear stepping back because they believe it makes them look uncaring or detached. But the truth is, distance often gives you the clearest perspective. When you are too close to a situation, your emotions cloud your judgment. You react based on how you feel in the moment instead of what is actually best for you in the long run. By creating space, you give yourself the gift of seeing things as they are, not as your emotions paint them to be. That separation is not abandonment, it is wisdom. When you take a step back, you are able to notice patterns you could not see before. The constant arguments, the repeated disappointments, the manipulative behaviors that felt small in the moment suddenly stand out. Distance reveals truth because it removes the noise. It takes you out of the daily tug-of-war and allows you to observe with a calm and honest eye. You start to realize what you were tolerating, what you were excusing, and what you were carrying that was never yours to carry. That kind of clarity cannot come when you are tangled up in the middle of everything. Distance also gives you time to hear yourself again. When you are surrounded by other voices, opinions, and pressures, it is easy to lose touch with your own thoughts. You start living on autopilot, responding to everyone else's expectations instead of asking what you truly need. But when you pull back, even just a little, you create space to breathe. You reconnect with your own priorities. You remember what matters to you. That self-awareness is what allows you to make stronger, healthier choices moving forward. Some people will try to convince you that taking distance is cold or cruel, but that is usually because your boundaries no longer serve their comfort. Distance is not about punishing others. It is about protecting yourself. It is saying, I cannot see clearly if I stay in this storm, so I need to step outside of it. That choice takes courage because it means resisting the pull of guilt and the pressure of others. But it is in that very space that your peace returns. Clarity is what allows you to respond with wisdom instead of impulse. It keeps you from wasting energy on what no longer deserves it. It helps you see which relationships build you and which ones drain you. It shows you the difference between temporary feelings and lasting truth. And once you see clearly, you cannot unsee it. Distance makes decisions easier because it reveals what was hidden by emotion. It reminds you that stepping back does not mean giving up. It means you value yourself enough to choose perspective over pressure, peace over chaos, and wisdom over reaction. Don't let someone rent space in your mind for free because your peace is too valuable to hand over so easily. Every time you replay an argument in your head, every time you obsess over what someone said, every time you let their words linger long after they've stopped talking, you're giving them space they didn't earn. It's like letting someone move into your house, use your energy, rearrange your thoughts, and not pay a single thing for it. That mental space should be reserved for your growth, your goals, your joy, and the people who actually deserve your attention. When you allow someone's negativity to live in your head, you carry them with you even when they're not around. You wake up thinking about them, you get distracted by their voice in your mind, and you lose focus on the things that really matter. The truth is, most people who try to get under your skin aren't losing sleep over you. They've moved on while you're still holding on to the weight of their words. That's why protecting your mental space is crucial. You don't owe everyone your energy, and you don't have to keep people's opinions stored in your head like they're permanent tenants. Think of your mind as prime real estate. Would you allow someone who constantly disrespects you, drains you, or belittles you to move into your home and take up your space without paying rent? Of course not. Yet we often let people do exactly that in our thoughts. We hand them the keys to our peace without realizing it. Setting boundaries in your mind is just as important as setting boundaries in your life. Not everyone deserves access, and not every thought deserves to be entertained. The more you focus on what someone else did or said, the more power you give them. But when you choose not to dwell, not to overanalyze, not to replay, you take that power back. This doesn't mean you ignore reality or pretend that hurtful things don't affect you. It means you decide how long they stay with you. You choose whether they become a passing moment or a permanent guest. You have control over who occupies your mental space, and that choice determines your peace of mind. When you stop letting people live rent-free in your head, you make room for better things. You create space for gratitude, for new ideas, for joy, and for peace. You start investing your thoughts into things that actually move you forward instead of things that hold you back. Protecting your mental space is not selfish. It's necessary. It is how you make sure that your energy is being spent on the right things, not wasted on the wrong ones. The moment you stop giving people free space in your mind is the moment you reclaim your freedom. Protect your peace like it's your greatest asset because it is the foundation for everything else in your life. Without peace, your mind is restless, your decisions are clouded, and your energy is drained. You can have success, you can have relationships, you can have opportunities, but if your peace is missing, none of it feels fulfilling. Peace is the quiet strength that allows you to enjoy what you have without constantly being pulled into chaos. It is the calm that steadies you when life becomes uncertain, and it is the filter that helps you choose what deserves your attention and what doesn't. Protecting your peace means knowing when to walk away from conversations that go nowhere. It means limiting your exposure to people who thrive on negativity. It means saying no to things that overwhelm you even when others expect a yes. It means creating boundaries so clear that your mind and your spirit can breathe freely. This doesn't mean you isolate yourself or avoid responsibility. It means you prioritize balance. When you guard your peace, you are not being selfish. You are being wise. You are making sure that you have enough strength to show up fully where it truly matters. There will always be demands, distractions, and pressures trying to steal your peace. People will test your patience, situations will trigger your emotions, and the world will constantly compete for your focus. But when you know the value of peace, you don't give it away cheaply. You recognize that protecting it is not optional. It is essential. Your peace is what gives you the clarity to make good decisions, the patience to handle conflict, and the resilience to keep moving forward when life feels heavy. When you begin to see peace as your greatest asset, you treat it like something worth guarding. You don't allow everyone access to it. You don't let every opinion disturb it. You don't trade it for temporary satisfaction. Instead, you hold it close, you nurture it, and you protect it because you know it sustains you more than anything else. Peace is not just the absence of problems, it is the presence of stability, strength, and perspective. And when you protect it, everything else in your life begins to fall into place with greater ease.